Few things can derail a Facebook ads campaign quite like a poor website experience. And this is something that is not talked about enough. We love talking about all the bells and whistles inside of Facebook Ads Manager, but all those things are honestly pointless if where you're sending them has a really poor experience. Let's go ahead and dive into the common pitfalls. All right, so number one is sending them to just your general website. While you may think that could be a good idea because there's tons and tons of information, the problem is that they can go down a deep rabbit hole and click on a million different things. And honestly, when it comes to paid traffic, you really have to point people in the right direction and not give them too many options, because everything is going to be a shiny object to them and they want to click on it and learn more about it. And they're never ultimately going to take that action that you want them to take. Obviously, getting people to your main website when it comes to organic traffic is totally fine because you're not paying for that traffic. But when you are paying for traffic, you are throwing so much money down the drain because there's way too many things that they can click on and distract them. And this was the exact impetus as to why I wanted to create this video, because I recently had a discovery call with a prospective client and she has spent thousands and thousands of dollars on ads, both Facebook and Google, and got zero results. And the reason was because she was sending all of her website to her main website, way too much distraction, way too many options for people, and so no one ever actually took some action. So what should you be doing? Instead, you want to be sending traffic to hyper-focused pages where there's only two options. Either they take the action we want them to take, or they leave, and that's it. Here's an example of that. Here we have a webinar opt-in page. So obviously all you can do here is either register for the webinar by clicking save my spot, or you just leave the page. It's a very short page, very simple. There is no upper level navigation. There's nothing that they can really truly navigate on at the very bottom other than the privacy policy in terms of use, and those are only there for legal reasons. So everything points back to the webinar itself. And the same thing would be for a sales page. Nothing changes here. This is going to be a longer page because we are asking them to give over their hard-earned money to us. So you do have to give them a little bit more information in order to make this work. But again, there's only two possibilities here. Either they click on yes, let me go ahead and buy this, or they leave the page. This keeps your traffic focused and easy. It makes it easy for you to be able to optimize the actions that they are taking or not taking by analyzing the data and making the appropriate tweaks. So what do I mean by this, analyzing the data and making the appropriate tweaks? Well, this means looking at where there's a drop off, if there is one. So in the perfect example of the sales page that we just looked at right now, the things I'm going to be looking at are total sales page visitors, how many of those initiated a checkout, and how many of those who initiated a checkout completed the purchase. If there's a drop off anywhere along that journey, then I can make adjustments either to the sales page or the checkout page to maximize my conversions. I'm not even touching Facebook ads in these scenarios because I know, or I think, that my leak is actually coming from my pages and not necessarily my ads. So again, don't put so much emphasis on the ads side of things. Always remember what's happening after the click and make sure you are optimizing that experience as well. Now, another thing that can completely derail your results, let's say that you have a phenomenal lead page, webinar page, product page, sales page, whatever you want to call it. It's pristine, it's done very well, and your checkout page is awesome, or whatever it might be. Everything's perfect, right? If anyone were to look at that, they would say, wow, congratulations, this is one of the best funnels that I've ever seen in my life. But you're still not getting any results. What is going on in this scenario? Well, often it's not necessarily what you're doing on the page, it's the fact that your page is loading very slowly. I always like to call this the silent killer of Facebook ad campaigns. So always look at the difference between your link click data and your landing page views data. If there's a huge difference there, then you know that your sales page or your page, whatever you're directing traffic to, is loading too slowly. I always tell people you want to aim for at least 80% of your link clicks becoming a landing page view. So if you have 100 link clicks, you should have a minimum of 80 landing page views. If you're anywhere below that, it means you need to go back and see what changes you can make in order to optimize the speed of your page. So a useful tool for this is GTmetrix. You just go ahead and punch in your URL. Then it is going to analyze your page and it's going to give you a breakdown on how your page is performing strictly from a speed standpoint. And so once you get the store, we're going to go ahead and let this load just for a little bit right here. You'll be able to know, okay, is it my page that's loading too slowly? Is that's why there's a drop off? If so, what changes can I go ahead and make in order to get better results? All right, so here we have our results. So this page has an overall performance grade of a B at 87%, and the structure is a 70%. If you have any questions about what they mean by structure or performance, you can always go over the question marks they have here, and they'll give you a breakdown of what each of these metrics actually means. But when you're looking at this, the most important thing that you actually want to be thinking about is your mobile traffic. So a really great tool to use for this is Google Page Speed Insights. It's a free tool that will analyze the speed of your website. So you're going to get a pair of scores. You're going to get your mobile score and your desktop score. Now, I urge you not to pay attention to your desktop score, simply because that's going to be only a small, very small fraction of your total traffic. You want to be optimizing for your mobile, because that's going to be at least 85% of your traffic, if not more. So this is the interaction that you want to be optimizing for. And so we see here a couple of different scores that we are getting. Overall performance on mobile is 27, which is obviously not great. If I go to desktop, look, it's actually 59. So that's again why you don't want to be looking at the desktop score, because desktop by default is always going to be better performing. We want to be looking at mobile. And so I do have some good scores here. Accessibility and best practices, SEO is pretty solid, but the overall performance is 27. That's because it is taking way too long for this page to load. So then I can go here and look at what I can do in order to increase the page speed, right? It's saying I can reduce some JavaScript, minimize main thread work, and so on and so forth. So I can go ahead and click through each and every single one of these, which ones are more feasible, which ones are not feasible. Obviously, the two right here are the big ones, because they're causing a 4.3-second delay and a 6.5-second delay respectively. Whereas over here, we're talking about milliseconds right here. So I'm not too concerned about those ones here. So I'm definitely going to put the vast majority of my time and attention over to these two top ones in order to improve my page performance. Now, one thing you might be thinking to yourself right now is like, okay, great. So with all this information, I must have a beautiful page, just a beautiful, pristine, well-designed, pretty to look at page. And the honest truth is no, that's not necessarily true. While the examples that we looked at today, yes, I would qualify those as very well-designed pages. I have used plenty of quote-unquote ugly pages that have performed phenomenally well. So I actually put less emphasis on design, so to speak, and more emphasis on just performance, which is getting the information that people need and making sure they are going down the funnel and taking the appropriate actions that I want them to take. So again, this is also not saying go ahead and only create ugly pages, but my point is here is that don't obsess about the overall aesthetics of the page so much. Obsess more over the content of the page and how good of a job it does to keep people moving down the funnel. All right, so there you have it. I hope you found this video important and useful. We didn't even go inside of Facebook Ads Manager today because it was all about the pages. And again, this is often overlooked, and I don't want the same thing to happen to you. So if you have any questions about anything that I covered today, as always, go ahead and ask me in the comments below. And thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next time.